My name is Kai Lindström, coming from S Group. Since you are here all in Finland, I don't think that I need to tell you about S Group, that's who we are. Uh, Basically, one thing that I could say regarding payments is that every fourth transaction made here in Finland is made in our stores. So that's how much we handle the payments. Didn't make any slide about myself, but I've been working in the payments area for the last 20 years. Initially on the issuing side, on the OP Bank, and then moving in 2007 to the merchant services and acquiring, and have been there on that side ever since, both on the service providers and then on the merchant side, and now sitting on the merchant side of the table at this time. But it's a good thing to be having been on the both sides, so that I know that what makes the other side tick. So I'm going to tell you about, from the merchant's point of view, that how the buying and paying is going to go, or at least that's how what we are thinking. One thing that unfortunately we here in Finland are lagging behind to our compatriots, or partners in other, for example, Nordic countries, is that scanning is not that popular yet. We do have that scanning devices in Prismas, or some of the Prismas, where you can use that kind of a handheld device, scan the item, but unfortunately with this one you still have to go to the cashier to pay. So you get the barcode, and then you go there. The next generation of those kind of devices will already have Android solution, so Android operating system in them, so that you can actually install a software into that device, and you can use that as a payment terminal. So you can pay it already there. Also, the other way to skin the cat, so to say, is to put that scanner into your mobile phone, so that instead of having that separate device, you are using your own phone to scan, and then you pay with your own phone. So basically what that means is that while you are shopping in store, you are doing an e-commerce transaction, card not present, or account to account, whatever payment methods there are. And when you have paid, then it gives out a QR code or barcode, and then you go to the gates where there is a reader, you scan it, the gates open, and you walk out. So I'm wondering that why on earth haven't we done this before? Because this would be, optimal for the Finns. You don't have to be social at all. You can just go there, the store, pick up your stuff, and then walk out without needing to speak a word to anyone. So let's see what we can do with this. Hopefully already this year. But this is something that our friends in the Nordic grocery groups like Coop, Norges Gruppen, ICA, they have already done that. And it's super popular. Like in Sweden, for example, Coop Sweden, in those stores that kind of scan and go solution app is used, 65% of the customers are using that only. They won't go to the old way of paying and buying anymore. Then, like what was mentioned earlier by Perttu, there is this Amazon Go, kind of an automated shop, so that you walk in, you pick up stuff there. The cameras are filming you, so that they'll know that if you take that chocolate bar, they'll know that what that is, and it goes to your virtual basket. And then when you walk out, it creates the bill and charges your card or account what is defined there in your account. The problem was that it turned out that it wasn't that automated as Amazon wanted all of us to know about that, and it turned out that there was over 1,000 Indian IT guys and girls who were looking at every shopper, and basically made a manual reconciliation about the purchase and then send the receipt and the charge of that. So of course Amazon is denying all these, say, accusations, but nevertheless they are taking out that solution from their grocery stores. But I have to say that that was pretty neat. They had all the palm readers for customer recognition and all that, but it was, of course, it was super expensive. It works in a corner shop, yeah. If you have deep pockets, but you couldn't put that into the hypermarket like Prisma or City Market. It would be so expensive to have all those cameras and sensors and all that. But what Amazon is now doing is that they are selling this same concept to the different places like sports stadiums and airports and so forth. So it's not dying. Let's see how that will turn out in the future. But it seems that for the grocery stores, probably not that much anymore going forward. But how the world has changed because of the COVID is it's that you don't, because people either they couldn't go, they weren't allowed to go in some of the countries, or they just didn't want to go. Two things happened. Those who could go to the stores, they didn't want to touch the payment terminal. So contactless payments were surging. It was a huge increase of that, and at the same time, of course, the usage of cash was going down in a free fall. And the same thing also then for especially those countries where it wasn't allowed you to go anywhere. That then basically they were starting to order stuff home. And for example, in some countries, the barbecue hobby was very popular, and the amount of new grills and stuff was quite high. So nowadays, also here in Finland, you can order food to your home. Beforehand, it was so that you ordered online and then you went to the store to pick up the bags. But nowadays, it's quite convenient to order home. We have those spaceship robots that provide smaller orders, and then of course larger trucks to provide larger ones. And then also the large companies, the grocery companies are also doing cooperation with Volt, with the likes of Volt and Foodora, for them to provide food orders in addition to the restaurant orders to the customer. So that's very convenient, and I think that's something that is not going away. It's actually growing more and more when people have, well, human being is a very lazy animal, so we try to do what's easy and something that doesn't need any effort from us. And if you can do it like that, then it's a quite good thing. And of course, that's the same thing with other stuff than food as well. So nowadays, you don't have to even go pick up your packages from the post offices, because you can, with a couple of euros more, you can order it direct to your home. What we see is that the sales channels are merging together. So, like said in the first slide, that when you are in the physical store and you pay with that scan and go, it's not a in-store transaction, but a e-commerce transaction instead. And that's how we see that these different sales channels are merging. So people are, as everyone, when they have their mobile phones, I guess that many also in this room, when they have gone to the store and they see something that they would want to buy, you open up your phone and check that what's the cost in some other store. So if you go to Gigantit, you probably want to check that what does that thing cost in power, for example, or verkkokauppa.com. Also, what we see is that at least in some of the areas, the stores are becoming more like showrooms, so that it's just that there are a couple of items that you can go and see and maybe discuss with the salesperson, but you can't buy anything from that store. You have to order everything online, be it Tesla cars or Dyson vacuumers or things like that. For example, in New York, there's every January there's a huge fair called New York Retail Fair, NRF. Um, I was there last year, and we visited some of the stores there in downtown Manhattan, and there were quite a lot of different stores, clothing stores, electronic stores, and whatnot that were like that, so that it was just a showroom. And what was interesting that those companies saw that uh, they wanted to use the marketing money, not marketing online or in magazines, but the showroom was the one that they thought that they are getting the most value for their dollars. So that was quite interesting. And of course, also in addition to this kind of being a showroom only, but also that maybe you can then, when you order online, you can return if something is not suitable or it's not something that what you expect it to be. You can return that to that store so that you don't have to ship it anywhere. Also, regarding this e-commerce, mobile commerce channel, that how this kind of endless aisle concepts work, so that you have this kind of if you can buy something from the store, that they have like a limited stock there, and then if there's, let's say you want to buy jeans, for example, that if there's not that size that you need or not that color that you want, they have the warehouse available for the e-commerce stock, and you can then order that same model in your size and color direct to your home or to that store, where you can and go and try that out and then decide if you want that or not. Then, like it was mentioned in both of the presentations of the gentlemen earlier today here, the biometrics are definitely going to be a thing. Not necessarily in the EU, because we know that how the European Union wants to regulate everything, and regulate too much. I think AI is one good or bad example of that. Also, the biometrics we already see, especially in China, where you can buy everything with your facial recognition. There's hotel chains. They have these huge screens where you can go and you can do check in and check out there with your facial data. Also, like there was in that Amazon case, there were palm readers there and so forth. But at least we feel that here in Europe, and also partly in the Western countries, that people are a bit hesitant of giving the biometric information to someone else, even though it would be a trusted merchant, for example, or a bank. But it's still something that people are still thinking that if I give my facial information to someone, that where is that stored, who's going to use that and so forth. It's a different thing when you have it on your own phone, so that you open up your phone or you authenticate your Apple Pay transaction with your face. That's another thing. But if you go to the store and that data is in the payment terminal or in the backend system, that's something that probably is not that not something that at least the Western people want to do. But let's see how it goes, because of course, again, coming back to that human being is a lazy animal. That if that can ease up your shopping experience, if it can make it easier, faster, and so forth, it could be something that consumers want to embrace. So it'll be interesting to see how that will pan out. Well, then, of course, card payments are the main payment method at the moment. And for example, if we look at S group purchases and payments, it's like 90% of transactions pretty much are made with the cards. Well, actually, in the market area, in the grocery stores, it's only 80%. It's surprising that there's still quite a lot of cash transactions. But mainly, when we look at Finland in general, the cards rule. And of course, old habits die hard. There are lots of people who still want to pay with cards and physical cards. They don't want to pay with mobile wallets, not necessarily. I have two teenage daughters. When they got to that age that they graduated from this small coin and cash usage to the card usage, I put their cards immediately to the Apple Wallet and said that this is the future and the present, that you should start using Apple Pay. But that got totally out of hand. They were using too much money. So then daddy and the girls decided together that let's take the cards off from Apple Pay and let's just start using cards, because for them it's still that kind of a feeling that when they use that card, that they are using the money instead of just tapping the phone. So now it's going a little bit better from my point of view. Um, what we see is that of course the mobile payments, like the card in mobile wallets, that's something that is really growing a lot, especially when we added the S Group bonus card support to the Apple Bars. And of course, also S-Bank added support of their cards into Apple and Google wallets, that we have seen the use of X-Pay double during 1 year. So that has been really clear increase, but it's still something like 15%. So it's not too much yet, but it's a good start, let's say so. But what we can see, and what was again mentioned earlier today here, is the account-to-account transactions. That's definitely something that is coming. For the merchants, it's lucrative because we know that they can be much cheaper than the card payments. Our friends in Norway, Norgesgruppen, they just introduced a mobile payment method called TrumpPay, not Trump Pay, but TrumpPay. Trump is their loyalty program, and the thing that how it works is that they have these loyalty points, and you can still pay with whatever means you want, but you only get the loyalty points if you pay with that Trump Pay. So they are basically driving that kind of a method in order to get more volume on that. And with the Trump Pay, you pay with account-to-account transactions. And they are saying that compared to the card transaction cost, it's 1/3 of the cost. So for example, for our group, that would mean millions and millions of euros every year. So you can believe that that's quite interesting and lucrative for us as well. Of course, the thing is then, and we've been also taking part in this Bank of Finland's biggest project, and what we have been saying, that it's not that the banks and the merchants want this, and unfortunately, not at least not all the banks are very interested of this. But let's see how that will go forward. But the big thing, be it biggest, be it something else, that you know how will we get the consumers to embrace that? Because if we save money, it's not something that the consumer thinks that I should use this payment method because those guys are saving money with that. So that it would need to be easy to use, it would need to be safe, but also it would need to be fast, because also one interesting thing is that every second costs. So that when there are consumers in store and they are queuing to the cashier, every second that the payment lasts longer, it cost us 2.4 million euros in either lost sales, because of course things accumulate. So if every consumer, it takes 1 second more, and then when you think that it's like 1.5 million transactions every day, so every second, that comes quite a lot of money. And of course, how to compensate that loss is basically would mean that we would need to have more cashiers there, and that's a cost as well. So the worrying thing is, for example, if you think about SEPA Inst, that if it's like 10 seconds to accept and approve the payment, and the card transaction with all the bonuses and stuff like that, it's like 4 seconds. So it can't be 6 seconds more. It won't fly. We won't never accept that kind of a thing. So that's something that needs to be taken into account as well when thinking about these account-to-account payments. But there's lots, not only Bank of Finland, but also other players. And interestingly, also Visa is coming with their own account-to-account scheme to here in Finland, probably during this year already, because they want to safeguard their own market share, because they see that the account-to-account payments are coming. There are lots of different players. We are part of the group called Nordic Initiative. It's a group for tier one merchants in the Nordics, and we are also planning and specifying a own Nordic wide account-to-account payment project, and probably a scheme as well based on Nexo standards and so forth. So there are different initiatives, and of course also then Visa sees that their market and their income is at risk if both merchants and via that consumers are going towards account-to-account, and so all that money is away from their guardrails. So they want to keep it safe and provide also an alternative to that. So basically, message to the banks is that account-to-account payments are coming. Make sure that you are there also, because otherwise it's a risk of being left outside. So that don't be too jealous of your interchange fee incomes. Then if you think about e-com, the digital wallets are definitely ruling. There was just a survey from last year that in some of the countries, over 50% of the transactions are made with mobile wallets. Also, one thing to note, even though here it's still quite low, but buy now, pay later, it's been also envisioned that let's say during the next couple of years, it will do something like 1/4 of the all transactions will be buy now, pay later. So if you think that like half of the transactions are mobile wallets, 1/4 is buy now, pay later, and then it's 1/4 left for the other payment methods. But it's again all about convenience. The cash, it was mentioned about digital euro. That's definitely coming. European Central Bank has put too much of their influence and credibility behind that. They have hired too many people working on that in order that to fail. So they will make sure that the digital euro is coming to the market. So there's no question about that. At the same time, the Bank of Finland is safeguarding the usage of cash. So there's an initiative, the legislation initiative made by the Bank of Finland to safeguard the acceptance and usage of cash here in Finland. But also at the same time, there is an initiative in the European Union which is doing the same thing. It's actually tied with the digital euro initiative, and that's that's still out in the open. It hasn't been decided yet, but there's a big risk that if it goes through as it is at the moment, as it's been written, it means that everywhere we should accept cash everywhere, and that would mean that we should install cash note readers into the EV charging stations. Every plane that flies over an European Union country would need to accept cash inside the plane. It would be totally crazy. It would be like going years and years backwards. So we, as part of the Kaupanliitto, the Finnish Chamber of Commerce, and also via that affecting the Eurocommerce, which is a lobbying organization in the EU, we have been taking the message towards the European Parliament and Commission that please don't do that. We are happy to accept that cash is still being accepted in grocery stores, in the pharmacy stores, in limited numbers, also in the fuel stations, but having that kind of a mandatory acceptance for the micro merchants, for the SMEs, for them that would be like unfair to demand that kind of thing. So that's what we are hoping to happen. But anyway, so sorry, these are in Finnish, but basically it says that how the payments have been developing at the S Group during these years. So as we see, the card payments are increasing and the cash payments are going down, but it's like leveling out. So after at the COVID time, it dropped quite a lot, but then it's like leveling out now. And I think that it's going to be this kind of long tail. So there's always going to be people who, let's say, need to use cash, or that they don't want to use cards, or things like that. So at the same time, elderly people, 70, 80-year-old people, they are already using mobile wallets and so forth. So that it's not the age thing anymore that much, so that only old people and the kids would be using cash. But there is that kind of a group that's still using, and we accept that you need to provide this kind of a daily services to them. But then if you look our, like I said, market, and this ABC is our fuel chain, uh, traffic services business area. Here the share of cash in transactions is actually 24%. It's a huge number compared to the Finnish average of 6-7%, but only 9% of the value. So that means that lots of small value transactions. So people go there to buy their lunch, or kids go to buy, a croissant and an energy drink. That's seemingly quite popular, at least in the high school that I've heard of. So that's how it goes. Uh, One thing before ending, forgot to say regarding the biometrics. It was just yesterday in the news that at that NRF in New York, JP Morgan, a huge bank and also a huge acquirer and merchant service provider, they, for example, provide payment services to the likes of Amazon globally. They had just launched two proprietary payment terminals made only for them, and designed by them, and those payment terminals have both facial recognition and palm recognition. So with that note, I think that those biometrics are coming to the Western countries as well. So interesting things happening already this year, and a couple of next years. But that was my presentation. Thanks for listening.